In the months after the pandemic, Boston received from the federal government this American Rescue Plan funding, which was a kind of once-in-a-generation federal infusion of cash into the city. And one of the big focuses for the mayor, who had just taken office at the time, was making sure that the impact of that money would be long-lasting. We're very lucky to have this Section 8 to homeownership program that HUD funds.
The Section 8 to homeownership program, which allows families to use their voucher to finance their mortgage. This is a very underused program.
But the reality is that in Boston, properties are so expensive and the need to be able to pay a down payment in order to compete is so substantial that really the BHA wasn't seeing a lot of successful use of that HUD program before.
The BHA, we launched the First Home program in the fall of 2022 to really help our residents buy their first home within the city of Boston.
Well, the First Time Home Buyers program is unique because it offers something that, fundamentally others may have, that father that can sort of invest in their first time home. A lot of the folks that are minority or poor or first time homeowners do not have that resource. So you can kind of think of BHA in the sense of like that big brother.
Although Section 8 to home ownership has been around since the year 2001, it has been underutilized in many cities due to the very complex administrative processes required to support a tenant to move from rental to home ownership.
It's a very lengthy process to homeownership. First, a client needs to be a current Boston Housing Authority resident to move forward in our program. They then must meet our First Home Program eligibility requirements listed online. The client will then work with the mortgage lender to obtain mortgage pre-approval. Noting that buyers cannot waive inspection or mortgage contingencies. The client's realtor will sign our First Home Program realtor agreement. Clients will then place a competitive offer on a property. The client will upload 16 required home buyer documents and complete their home closing. Once a client receives their fund reservation letter from Boston Home Center and their lender gives the clear to close, a client will be able to complete the closing on their new home and receive their keys.
Part of the success that we've seen is really due to being on the phone all day long, answering hundreds of emails per hour, not only just for our tenants who are interested in pursuing homeownership, the questions they have, and how to navigate the Section 8 to homeownership process, but lenders, agents, there's different regulations that have to comply by, so it's a lot of customer service.
Last November, an agent that I do a lot of work with named Mike Park contacted me and asked me if I'd like to join him in being involved in working with BHA clients. Doing a Section 8 to homeownership loan is just like helping, a client that didn't have Section 8. There's a couple more steps involved, but I believe that the reward, of helping a client that is on Section 8 achieve that dream of homeownership is extremely rewarding.
My name is Mike Park. I'm a broker of Splice Realty, which is based in Cambridge. I think in our business, every client is really valuable. I think there's kind of a stigma around subsidized home ownership or subsidized renters, but fundamentally, in the end, everyone's subsidized. Every mortgage in America is subsidized by the federal government. All the mortgage interest, tax deductions is a subsidy. Even appreciation is a subsidy, kind of protected by the government. So it seems like the subsidies that our clients are receiving are very small compared to the subsidies that existing homeowners have already received.
Investing in a home ownership program is beneficial not only to the homeowner, but also to the entire community, as well as government funding. Right now, with the rising cost of rent, housing authorities and government agencies continue to subsidize and pay more for the cost of a unit. So when you look at that, subsidizing a monthly rent over time is significantly more than the cost of a mortgage over the 30-year traditional conventional mortgage. So our hope is that not only can we help more families find stable housing and build wealth, but also looking at how can we be cost effective with funding sources.
I think what this program has shown is that with an investment from the city and the federal government, we can help families who we never thought we could become homeowners. I think we should double down on this approach and not take a step back once federal money stops.
In high-cost areas like ours, down payment assistance is critical. There is just no way around it, but conversely it works. And we've just been seeing a steady clip of people being able to close. And for me, it's just like, you know, anytime you can do something in one moment because you make all the stars align, and then because those stars align, that family gets to be in Boston for many decades, right? And like whole people's lives and trajectories are changed because of it. Like that's incredibly powerful.
During the home buying process, I never thought about moving somewhere else to a different city. No, it has always been Boston. For me, Boston is the place for me where I can be the voice for the voiceless. That's why I chose to stay in the city of Boston.
The thing that you're most excited about when you moved into your home?
Oh, listen, the first thing I did. You know why? Because there was nobody downstairs. There's no one downstairs to bother. You know, it's not like, if you ask my landlord, I'm a good tenant, I don't make noise. Yes, I have kids, sometimes it happens, especially if we have a birthday party or if we have multiple kids over. But in terms of being a disturbance to them, no. And particularly they're elderly, so no. But I was always mindful the way I'm walking, letting stuff drop on the floor. We're always mindful, there's someone downstairs. Maybe they're still sleeping, maybe they, you know, I didn't want, it was stressful living that you have to always be mindful of how you're walking, how you're dropping things. But when I got here, I'm like, oh, I don't have to worry about that anymore. But it took me a while. I can say until now, sometimes I'm still being mindful. Oh, there's someone downstairs, but there's nobody downstairs, you know. So, it's freedom. Yes.